Hello. 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 Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Hello, friends. How are we doing? Hello, hello, hello. Let me start at the beginning. Let me make sure that I say hello to everyone. Jump, congrats on first to stream. Frost, Opus, thank you for being here early. I appreciate it. Frost, thank you for redeeming your chaos. Cheer, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. Anybody new here? I am Havoc. I'm typically an FPS streamer, Valorant, Call of Duty, things of that nature. But tonight we are actually doing a women in gaming panel with some amazing ladies in the space. I'm super excited thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm super excited to introduce you guys to some ladies that I really look up to. So please stick around, get your questions ready. We are rocking and rolling. We're just making sure all of our videos are set up and everything. And yeah, we're almost good to go. So Jump, thank you for the tier 1. Nate, thank you for the tier 1. Frost, thank you for your Prime. I appreciate it. Appreciate using that free money on me. Lord, hello, welcome in here to support Girl OX. I love it. I'm a huge fan, guys. Huge fan of Cheer. I've been following her on TikTok since far before I was ever in the Twitch space. So I just have like the utmost love and respect for her. Drew H2O, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Coda, thank you for doing your check-in. Mischief, hello. How are you doing? Oh, pretty. Thank you, Jump. I appreciate it. Hi, I'm new. Drew, you're a liar. Thank you guys for the hype train. I really appreciate it. I'm new. Hello. Mischief, tell us a little about yourself. Opus, thank you for doing your check-in. Hi, how are you doing? Cheer's such a nice person. I agree. She's incredible. I am a big fan. But you know, she's here, so don't make me blush too much or anything. I'm already nervous. So okay, I'm going to pop over. Hopefully, I think all of our cameras are up and ready to go. So we should be good to switch over to my panel scene. Ayo! Okay, let me move names around really quick. And then we'll add Cheer in here. Hello, friends. How are y'all doing?
Hi.
Hello.
I have a PowerPoint that I'm going to start with. PowerPoints are kind of a staple in my community. We love doing PowerPoints. So I'm going to start with that. And let's do Cheer Girl OX. And maybe, hopefully. Okay. Look at that. I'm a professional streamer, you guys. Believe it or not. Let me get my screen shared here. I played around with this earlier. Hopefully it works. We're going to pop up the slideshow and share a screen, and we're doing Google Slides. And so sorry. I promise I'm so prepared. I'm literally
great.
so prepared.
I'm in no
Okay,
rush.
there we go.
Okay.
oh gosh, the names again. We're just going to hide the names for the beginning and then we'll put them back on. Okay. So as you guys know, today is International Women's Day. We love women. Oh, thank you guys for the hype train. I appreciate it. So I put together just a quick PowerPoint of some fun statistics, some women in gaming, and then I put together a slide for each of the girls that are with us this evening. So let's hop into it. So some fun stats to start us off. 47% of console players are women. 50% of PC players are women, and 54% of mobile game players are women. I thought that was really interesting. I know that I grew up not seeing a lot of women in the gaming world. Not a lot of my friends played. My aunts didn't play. Nobody really played around me. So thought it was really cool that we now make up about 50% of video game players. 75% of women still report some level of harassment in online video games. I know that it's really easy for us to look at how far we've come in the gaming space, but I think there's still a long way to go. So. And then women only make up 30% of the gaming industry's workforce, and only 16% are in executive positions. So again, long way to go in that regard. A 2015 study found that lower skilled males are more aggressive toward women in video games, likely because they stand to lose the most status when it comes to gaming. So I thought that was really interesting. You can look up the study. It's by Michael and Jeff, and it was really interesting. It was done on Halo, so very interesting piece of information. And then getting into the industry, obviously we've seen Riot, Ubisoft, Activision, and Atari. Some of the biggest gaming companies have been accused of sexist workplaces, but have largely gone unscathed and dodged mainstream media attention and kind of swept those situations under the rug. I think that something that we'll get into tonight is how we can make sure that we're holding companies and people accountable to their actions. So I think it's really interesting to know that some of the biggest names in gaming have been under fire for things like this before. I also, in my research, found Gamergate. So this happened in 2014. I'm sure that a lot of you probably already know about it. I, however, did not have internet at home in 2014. I was not in the gaming space, except for like handheld devices and things. But Gamergate was a misogynistic online harassment campaign that included doxing and threats of violence against prominent women in the gaming industry. A lot of those women are still under attack to this day from Gamergate in 2014, so 10 years later. Supporters were upset about the cultural diversification and feminism in gaming, pushing back against the shift in the gamer identity from like a predominantly male side of things to a mix in genders. And Gamergate has led to the ongoing harassment in gaming space, and is thought to be the root for a lot of the arguments against women in this space, as well as the initial doxing of prominent women in the space. So really interesting. And then women, because we love women. Jade Raymond, she was a video game producer on Assassin's Creed, Star Wars, Far Cry, and The Sims online version. She founded Haven Studios, which is a game studio with focus on kindness. She's known to support diversity and speak up about lack of women in the industry. And then Kim Swift, she revolutionized first-person gaming with Portal and then worked on Left 4 Dead as well. I found this snippet from an interview she did. I see the solution to this problem coming not a year from now, not 5 years from now, but 20, when this current generation of kids sees the good example that we should be setting now. Though we may not be able to tell it completely like it is yet, there's still plenty we can do to help future generations of game developers. So I thought that was really interesting. We might not see the impact that we have, until a generation or two from now, which is really crazy to me. And I wanted to call out the Game Hers. I know Ariel was at the awards last week. TGH is a safe and supportive space for women and femme-identifying gamers to meet, chat, and play. If you guys were on Twitter at all last week, I'm sure that you saw the awards and all of the wonderful women that were being celebrated. I think that it was absolutely amazing to see on my timeline. So yeah. And then the Broadcast Her initiative. I know Cheer is part of this, an initiative and grant program designed to support women and femmes pursuing content creation and gaming. So, Cheer, do you want to speak to that just a little bit?
Yeah, they have like all of these different grants. I won like the JBL one, so I have like, they sent me like a JBL speaker.
Oh, love.
And gave me like a $1,500 grant for like, I let them know like what equipment I need. I'm trying to build like a stream PC. They also do like educational stuff. They have like a esports commentator like class with like Riot commentators. And I know people who have like won their like big broadcaster grant who like have like all of these they work with like Padia Gaming and all these makeup companies, and they just like are helping like bring more companies into gaming, because like we don't get much, but like we have to be presentable on stream. Most of us wear makeup, so like why don't we have more makeup deals? So they're helping with all that, and it's really great.
I love that. Yeah, that's incredible. I know, what was it? Not this last TwitchCon, but the TwitchCon before, Nyx was there, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's actually kind of crazy to see. So, perfect. And then I want to introduce some of our panel members here. We have H211 or Ariel. Guys, they're all tagged in my title, so please make sure that you go give them a follow, check out their content. But you'll find Ariel on Twitch, on TikTok, on Twitter, all of those good things, all under H211. She is a wife and mom, a dance teacher, and a metalhead. She plays Zelda and COD, and she's really put together a very kind, supportive, and inclusive space, which is amazing. I've had the opportunity to interact with her community a lot, and they are just so kind and loving. So I love to see it. Ariel, do you want to say anything about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, no, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me. But no, I'm very, very grateful for the streaming community in the sense that I grew up not knowing any women in gaming. I knew my family and that was it. And this is what, like, Twitch was really like the gateway to me meeting other fantastic women who had similar backgrounds and also didn't know other people, other women in the gaming community. So very, very grateful for this whole dynamic, and very, very excited to meet more and more people as the time goes on. Very thankful.
I love it. Yeah. And things like this are so great. Even to just like meet new friends. So I'm glad that you're here. Thank you so much. I know that it was kind of last minute, so I appreciate you being here. It means a lot. And then we have Sad Girl, or JJ. She's gonna absolutely kill me for putting that she's an author on here. She just finished her first draft of her first book, and I am so proud of her. And she is getting ready to enter law school. She plays Valorant and Apex and like a smidge of League when I make her. She has a master's in linguistics, and she's like our resident feminist. She's always got the stats and statistics for us, and I really wanted her here today because I don't know. I feel like she brings a lot to the table, and has done a lot of like research when it comes to things like this. So, JJ, would you like to say anything?
Sure. First of all, that's so nice of you to say. I think you believe in me a lot more than I believe in myself. But yeah, again, thank you for putting this all together. I think my first interaction with the gaming community was in 2014 during Gamergate, unfortunately. I did experience some pretty terrible things coming from them, so that might be something we can talk about later. And then in 2020, I had some big life changes, and I decided, I'm going to get a gaming PC just out of nowhere. And I did not realize how much that was going to change my life. And it's crazy how just amazing of a time it's been, like building these communities and these friendships through this mode of interaction, I guess.
Perfect. Let me just check.
If y'all want to, do you want to try Discord and we mute on here?
Yeah, if you guys want to try that instead, let me mute in here and I'll start the call in Discord. Sorry, you guys, 1 second. Uno momento, por favor.
Okay, hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's try this out. Let me check my OBS settings. Okay, can you guys talk for a second?
Hello.
Everybody's like,
You're not muted on video.
oh, okay. Let's see.
Did that help?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. I just took off the audio. Okay.
Okay, chat, is that better? Helping you to get set up. No, I appreciate it, Nate. Nate, is that a little bit better? Ika, thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate it. They sound quiet. Okay, let me turn up my Discord source. Okay, one more test, you guys.
Hi, hello. Hello.
Hello. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, Nate said perfect.
Yay.
Woo! Yes. Okay. Oh, thank you, JJ. I appreciate it. I cannot wait to talk a little bit about your experience with Gamergate. Something that I didn't put on this slide, but that you guys should know about JJ, is that she used to be really big into YouTube. So she has been like on the interwebs for far longer than I have. So she has a lot of, I guess, like insight that I don't have. So, and then we have Serena. She is a model and actress. She focuses on Fortnite on her channel. One thing that I absolutely love about Serena, she is very unapologetically herself. She is a lover of all things pink, and she leads with kindness. I am absolutely obsessed with just how creative she is, and just I feel like she is very confident in who she is. I think that's amazing. I was reading her about section the other day on Twitch, and she had this quote, "You are made of magic. You just got to believe it." And I thought that was just so cute. Serena, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to start off by saying thank you for including me in this panel. Happy National Women's Day to all you baddies out there. Um, I am going to apologize for not being on camera. Most of the time I do stuff like this on camera, but my allergies have like knocked me dead today. So I'm sniffling, sneezing, my head's on fire. So we're going to hang out PNG Tuber style. But basically I've done modeling and acting since I was 15, 16 years old, so about a decade now. When COVID happened, that kind of knocked it on its ass, and I wasn't able to travel or audition or anything. And I was like, I want an audience and I want to be able to connect with the community. And so my significant other introduced me to Twitch, and I've been on Twitch now for 4 years. And I agree, Twitch and gaming online has changed my life, and I'm really excited to be here and to kind of talk about that.
I appreciate
So
it.
thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, of course, of course. I'm sure that you guys recognize Serena. She's been around a lot. Absolutely, just adore you. Thank you so much for being here. I really
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Yeah. And then, guys, I'm gonna fangirl for like half a second here. I don't know if you guys have seen Cheer Girl's clip on COD of telling a guy that she's gonna fuck his dad and give him a child that he actually loves. But I've been a Cheer Girl stan for a really, really long time. So I'm so excited for her to be here. I've been playing COD since I was just a wee little baby. So it's really awesome seeing some badass women in this space. Cheer is actually a cheerleader. That is a fact. And I don't know if she calls herself an activist, but she definitely, to me, is one. I have learned a lot from her. She actively fights against sexism, racism, and homophobia in the gaming space. She has a lot of clips on her TikTok of her doing exactly that. And she really empowers women and the LGBTQ plus individuals to stand up for themselves and to play the games that they enjoy, which I think is incredible in a space where we're kind of told to be quiet. So yeah, just huge love for you, Cheer. Is there anything that you want to say about yourself? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. Wait.
Oh, my actual mic was muted. I'm a walnut. It was from when we were doing the other thing, and I forgot.
No, you're okay.
That was so nice. I'm gonna cry. I don't know how to follow that up. That was like the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me. But I guess like a little background is I never played video games until the pandemic. So like I'm super new. Although you said that Sad Girl's been on the internet for a while. So Exo Cheer Girl OX was my AIM screen name from 2000.
Nice.
So I've been on the internet for like so way too long. So I've seen a lot, and I'm like an angry Leo Sicilian bitch from New Jersey, which is why I am the way that I am, and I just fit into a COD lobby. Yeah.
I love it. I love to see it. I know I had planned on talking about this like a little bit later, but I've been playing COD since I was in like middle school, and I was always too scared to like stand up for myself, but now I actively do it. Like it's in my head that I'm just like, okay, I'm going to be like Cheer or Steffi or like all of these people that I like look up to. Like I am not going to let these bitches run over me. Like I'm gonna stand up for myself. I'm gonna stand up for my friends. So I really appreciate you like empowering people to do that. I think that it makes a huge difference. So okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and pull up my questions really quick. I swear I need like another monitor or something. Okay, let's do this. Let's try. Okay. Oh, the names are all back in the right spot. Oh, We love when things work out. This is amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Feel free, you guys. I am like the most chill person ever. So please, if you guys like need me to stop or slow down, or I'm like butchering something, or I say something that's not accurate, call me on it. Like all day, every day, I want to learn and grow. So please, please, please let me know. I really want to just start with kind of, I guess, everyone's gaming origin stories. Cheer kind of shared a little bit about hers, but I would love to hear about, your first, the first time you like fell in love with a game, and I guess the progression from there. Do you want me to? I can call on people.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, okay. Sad girl, if you want to go first.
Sure. So probably my favorite game ever, and the first game I can remember really loving was on the PlayStation 2. It was the Sly Cooper games. Those are my favorite games. I have them remastered for my PS4, and I still play them occasionally. After that, as I got older, I have 4 brothers, and they gamed a lot, but I wasn't really like allowed to, I guess. I was the oldest child, so they were strictest with me, and you can't play anything violent, or you can't, so there was a big hiatus there until probably the pandemic, probably like a lot of you guys. And I actually got divorced during the pandemic, and I bought myself a PC as a divorce present to myself.
Love
I was
that.
like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this, so fuck it. And then I started playing Valorant and made a ton of girlfriends and realized like how much it helped me through that time, and then just got further and further into it.
I love that. Perfect. Thank you. Ariel, if you want to go next.
Sure. So I'm the oldest of 11. Come from a very large family. Yeah, no
Yeah.
twins, no half siblings. It just every 2 years. But we were a huge gaming family. But it wasn't like online gaming. I didn't do that until the pandemic. We grew up on story-based games. So Zelda was a favorite franchise of ours. And we would have like family game nights of playing like Resident Evil and Fatal Frame. Like it was odd, but it was fantastic. And yeah, that's kind of how I really started gaming, was just within the family. And that's why I didn't discover other women in gaming until the pandemic and online gaming and such. But yeah, no, my brother had a Zelda themed wedding, and now I have a niece named Zelda. So we definitely are a big gaming family. It just took a long time to find like my fellow ladies out there.
Absolutely. I love it. Serena, if you want to pick it up.
So absolutely. So past Serena never would probably think that I'm a gamer now. It's honestly still weird. I sit down and I think, wow, I literally play video games for a living, and that it blows my mind. Like growing up, I did the modeling, the pageants, the cheerleading, and the gaming wasn't really for girls where I was at growing up. Like it wasn't necessarily like shunned upon, but you just didn't see it. Like my brothers would play Grand Theft Auto and Oblivion and like any other game under the sea. I remember being like 11, 12, 13. I don't know exactly how old I was, but my uncle got me this video game called Surfs Up. Just like the movie, you got to be a surfer, and that really got me interested in video games. I beat everyone's ass. I was the best surfer out there. And it's such a silly game because all you do is surf on it. You gotta be the best surfer out there. But that started showing me that like you could have fun on video games, and it didn't matter who you were, what gender you were. And then after that, I would get more into like Mario Party games, like family games, nothing super serious. And I'm a little bit of a hypocrite when it comes to shooter games. I'm like, I hate shooter games, but Fortnite is my main game. I've slowly started playing a little bit of Apex or Overwatch. I played COD on my birthday stream, and I won a game. I'm a professional COD player
Nice.
now. Thank you so much. But I think I want to use my platform just to show everybody that you can follow your dreams no matter what they are, as long as you're not hurting yourself or others. And the gaming industry really is for anyone who wants a seat at the table for gaming. So I'm excited to be here and talk about that.
I love love that. Thank you. I love the little Blue Crush moment with Surf's Up.
Yes. I was the best at that game.
I love it. Cheer, I know you kind of talked about it a little bit, but do you want to add anything to your gaming origin story?
Yeah, so like I usually say like that I never played video games, but the more I look back, I was kind of always kind of playing games. Like I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so I'd always be at the boardwalk and like playing like arcade games. And then like growing up, we had a PlayStation, but like we were kind of poor, so I only had the demo of Spyro. So I would just like run around, blow fire on the sheep, and that was it. And surprisingly enough, this is gonna come to a shock, but when I was in high school, my first boyfriend, he would play Halo, and I would just take the headset and talk shit to the dudes. It was like wild. Who would have thought that that's what I was into? But like, so like, it was always there, but it wasn't until the pandemic. My ex was playing Warzone all the time, and I was like, "Can you stop? This is annoying." And then because we were locked in the house together, our TikTok For You pages became like meshed, and I started getting women playing Call of Duty, and I was like, "Wait a second. I'm stuck in the house with pent up rage. I want to yell at people. This seems fun." And now it's my job. And now my whole life is because of gaming. Like I have the friends that I do, I have the girlfriend that I do, all because of deciding to play Call of Duty, which is insane.
I absolutely love that. I started playing video games when I was really, really young. Like Midnight Club, I don't know, Crash Bandicoot, things like that. But I started playing COD when I was like 13. And it was actually to impress my now husband, but back then it was, some guy from school. And we started playing together, but it was so scary being in like public lobbies. So we would just run like bots all the time. And looking back on it, I feel really bad that I mean, hundreds of hours against bots, like absolutely ridiculous. And it took a really long time, like probably not until like my mid 20s to finally start like talking in game and being in those online lobbies, because it is like so scary and I get really like flustered and overwhelmed. So it took me a long time. But yeah, I've always had a big love for gaming. So let's see. I would love to know, those of you that have audiences, what's your audience breakdown by gender, and why do you think that is? Do you feel like you attract more men or women? What do you feel like you do to, I don't know, gain the audience that you have? Let's go, Serena.
Oh goodness. Okay. So starting off, when I was younger, like my whole family cursed, and I was like, that is so not ladylike. I could never get behind bad words and stuff like that. But gaming and streaming on Twitch has really become my safe spot. And if you come to my channel any day, I'm a sailor. I say so many bad words. I make up my own bad words. I love that. And also, like Havoc talked about it, I have a very pink setup. I have over 200 stuffed animals behind me in my stream room. Um, and some people are like, is that a persona? Is that who you really are? And of course, if you meet me or we're at a working event, I'm not going to be cussing your ear off. I am going to be professional. I know how to be professional in different places of my life. But if you come over to my couch, I'm going to have my cats around me. I'm going to have my stuffed animals. Like who I am on stream is who I am. So I think it's been hard to kind of see like who actually likes that, because I have had a lot of people talk shit about my pink, the love of stuffed animals. Like some people are like, you need to get rid of those. Why do you have them? And it's like, this is my hobby. This is my stream room, and this is what I'm going to do. I do think it's probably about 50-50 between like men and women watching me. But I think it definitely comes down to people's interest when it comes to watching me, because I don't think I'm that person that anyone and everyone could watch. You know, you have to have a certain want to watch me. You want to be able to see someone cuss and yell and rage, but also have like that silly, sassy princess vibe. And it's been fun trying to figure out what works on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram because all my platforms have a different type of feel to it. And just recently, I've started posting on Instagram because recently Instagram has been all of my modeling stuff. And that's been hard to decide like, do I start putting my gaming stuff on there? Because some of my people from my modeling days don't take me super serious in the gaming world.
Mm.
You know, I just had a gentleman ask me yesterday, like, how did you break the code? How did you figure out you could make money playing video games? And is it because you're a woman? And that was almost like a punch in the face. I don't think he meant it in a harmful way, but it felt harmful, if that makes any sense at all. I sat down and I explained to him, you know, how I make money, the subs, the ad revenue through Patreon, because you want to try to make money anywhere and everyone and not just through your community. And it still kind of sucked because I still don't know if he took me super serious, but I think that's just what we need to do as women is be very educational when it comes to streaming and having a platform. And again, reminding people that anyone and everyone can play. And it's not just because we're women that we're making money. Because if you look at the top streamers, a lot of them are not women. But, you know, that's a different topic. But that's it for me.
No, I appreciate it. And I think something that I want to call out, you know, you said you don't feel like he meant it in a harmful way, but it felt harmful.
Mhm.
You know, two things can be true at the same time. He could have not meant it to be hurtful, and it still be hurtful, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that is something that's really important to understand. You know, when we talk about like how men can help women in this space, how, you know, they can be more supportive. I think that that is one of the ways, like being more in tune with, you know, the words that you use and what you say and how it comes across. So yeah, I appreciate you calling that out.
Thank you.
Cheer, what about you? Your audience breakdown and why you think that is.
Mine is majority women, because I do not cater to men ever. I actively do not want them to follow me. I will bully them away. Like when I was signed to NYXL and I went into their offices to like go over my breakdown and like what works best, they were like, "We've never seen this many women following like a gaming page. Like, how did you do this?" And I'm like, "I'm just mean to men. I like my shirt today. Like, hello, I can't help it." But yeah, I definitely I even get like a lot of people who are like, "I don't even play games, but I just like watching your content because of like what you stand for and you bullying men." So yeah, I think it's like 60-40. Those 40, I'm like, oh, I don't know
You're on thin
why you're
ice.
here, but I'm watching you. Be on best behavior.
That's funny. I like it. I like it. What about you, Ariel?
I would say it's probably more male for me, and I think it's just more of an interest thing. I think it's harder to find women that love metal like I do. Like I don't shy. I used to shy away from like playing that on stream. I used to be super paranoid about like scaring people away. I'm just kind of doing my thing now, and I think that brings a lot of men. Also, I'll just chalk it up to dad jokes. So I don't know, but no, definitely I've got some beautiful women inside and out that are a part of the community. I just think it is probably predominantly male at the
Mhm.
time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sad Girl, I know you're not streaming currently, but when you had your YouTube page, what was that breakdown? What did that look like?
Oh, it was majority men, I think, but it was mostly hate watching, I'm sure. So, you know, it is what
We love
it
a
is what
viewer.
it is.
I love it. I think I really don't know what my breakdown is, so I'm a hypocrite for asking. I would say it's likely fairly 50-50, but I also share like a Discord and a community with my husband, so I'm gonna blame it on that, honestly. But yeah, I appreciate you guys answering that question. So now that we know just a little bit about like your background, about your communities, about your content, I would love to dive into, I guess, like the meat and potatoes of why we're here. I would like to hear your guys's experience with your first sexist hate comment and or some things that are common for you to hear, because I would really like to shine a light on the fact that it is still so widespread for harassment to happen. So yeah, if you share anything triggering, please just make sure that you say a trigger warning beforehand. But we will start with Ariel, if you want to go first.
Yes, so I'll just go ahead and preface the trigger warning here. Primarily regarding, you know, I'm in the dance world. Unfortunately, a lot of eating disorders and other things can spawn from that. That is something that I've always struggled with my whole life. And I'll never forget, 3 weeks into streaming is when I first got like a comment. And it took me so off guard. Like I expected people to be more blatant about it and not just set me up for something. And this person came in and was like, "That's a really nice gaming chair. What is it?" And I just had like a brown office chair at the time. So I was like, "It's not like a kind of chair. It's, I've had it for like 4 years now." And they were like, "Well, it must be really nice because it can obviously hold a lot of weight." And I was like, "Okay." So that was the first thing that I was just like, "Oh, so this is how the internet is." And it took a lot of adjustment for me because I was homeschooled my whole life. So I have not had to I've been fortunate to not deal with a lot of trolling or bullying or anything like that. So this was kind of like my introductory experience to everything. And yeah, that was probably my first of many experiences with that.
Gosh, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, and sorry that anybody has to go through that. That's awful. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. Sad girl, what about you?
Oh, am I muted? I'm not muted. Okay. So I think when I first, you know, got on the internet when I was a teenager, it was kind of like me trying to express this inner. I'm from Texas. There's a lot of social issues here that are just horrendous. And it was an outlet for me to kind of, talk about how I felt about these things. And now if I look back on it, I'm sure it's super embarrassing. Um, but so in 2014, my first interaction with the gaming community was Gamergate, and I made, feminist and social justice content on YouTube. And it grew very quickly. A lot of great relationships I made through that, and a lot of terrible interactions I had through that. But about 24 hours into me even acknowledging Gamergate and the issue of feminism in gaming and women in gaming, I was swatted. So it was a pretty extreme first impression of what that world might look like, and I think that's probably what scared me off for a while. Just this idea that someone could hate me so much because of how I was born, just for my gender, like that blew my mind because I'd seen it in some ways, some of the ways that women are disadvantaged, but I had never had someone like literally want me to die because of, or be okay with that potentially happening because of my gender. So then when I got into gaming, and there, obviously I experienced a lot of sexist remarks. I play CSGO and Valorant, but I don't want to say my skin's like super thick, but starting off with the swatting, I'm like, no, it's whatever. I'll just like brush it off. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I actually did not know that you were spotted. That is scary. I think that is, for me at least, like one of my biggest fears. I have 2 dogs that would likely be fairly aggressive if, men just kicked down my door. So that is like terrifying for me. Gosh, can't even imagine. Maybe I shouldn't say that that's a fear of mine on the internet. Shit.
Delete the VOD.
Yeah. Cheer if you wanna go next.
Yeah, I've been trying to rack my brain about what I think the first one was because it happens so often playing Call of Duty that I have no idea. It probably happened my first day. I remember people were really not happy with me playing because I was 29 and just started playing Call of Duty for the first time, so I was not good. I remember some of the first funny kind of sexist ones, like some dude was like, "Ayo Karen, give the PlayStation controller back to your kid." That was the first one that like stuck out that I was like, okay, men can sometimes be funny. But like if I had $1 for every time I'm told to like make a sandwich or like
Mhm.
I could tell how fat you are, yada yada, or like sexual assault jokes, I wouldn't have to have a weekend job because goddamn, it's all
Mhm.
it like yeah, it's I just tune it out at this point and I feel like a pull toy. They say something and I'm like, "Oh my god, you think I'm fat? You want a sandwich?" Okay, it's like just be funny. Just
Yeah.
be original, please.
They can't.
You know, they don't it doesn't work in there.
No capacity.
Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. Serena, if you want to go next.
Yeah, absolutely. So I totally everything everyone else has said, spot on, totally relate with. And exactly what Cheer said. It's like Havoc's like name one time, and it's like, well, here's 1,000 times that it happens, and it's crazy. Like all of us, like all of y'all, just nodded y'all's head. Did y'all see that? Like we all have the same experience. But, and I hate to be that person, but it's like, all right, let's have this conversation with men. Are they going to all sit there and nod their head when they talk about being harassed or bullied or anything like that on the internet? I won't say it won't happen because it does happen. There is a lot of people out there who do get bullied regardless of their gender, but it's just so sad. Like we all nodded our head right there, and at the same time, it was crazy watching that. For me personally, and trigger warning, more of the bullying started when I was younger. Like I said, I started modeling like 15, 16, so about 10 years ago. I was a 00. So I have been made fun of being too skinny. And now after COVID, gained some weight. I'm between like a 6 to a 10. And now it's like put the hamburger down. Same thing with like gaming chair things. I get told that I'm too big, I'm obese, I'm a whale. And it's like every single size that I have been, someone has bitched and complained and had said something about it. And I just never understand like what I'm supposed to do to be this perfect person, because when I'm the opposite of what the other person told me to do, it pisses someone off completely. And so I'm trying to get in that mindset now of being like, okay, well, I'm not this perfect person, and the people who love me and support me are not going to give a shit what I look like or how the scale looks like when I step on it. But it's really sad that we all have been through similar things and been told to make sandwiches, get off the fucking game, things like that. And I think that I'm so excited that even though we've all been through that, that we continue to have a platform and we continue to talk about it and we don't let them win. I think that is so important that we continue to game and we continue to put our voice out there because all of our voices deserve to be heard, for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm also glad that it hasn't scared away some of the best women that I've met, because I really, I don't think that I could brave the storm without people to turn to, and to share those experiences with. So I know for myself, I think it's really easy to talk about like get back in the kitchen, make a sandwich, right? The harder ones to talk about are the ones that like make you get off the game and you go cry. Those are
Mhm.
like, and that's not, an exaggeration or a joke, like trigger warning. Like I've had very graphic sexual assault jokes made to me. People have, like death threats, like those things are very real in this space, and some days it is a little harder than others. And I know for me, like I am overweight, so sometimes those weight comments just sting a little bit more than they should, you know? And I try to pride myself on being somebody that is like, I've worked really hard to try and be comfortable in my skin, but it's really difficult when, you know, you have people constantly trying to tear you down. And I think that that happens a lot, not just in games, but just on the internet in general, right? You don't know what other people are going through. You don't know what they're struggling with. And I just think it's, I don't know, really shitty, I guess, to use those things against people. So, yeah, I would love to know how you guys handle those situations, and how you think it has affected you mentally. You know, is this something that you talk about in therapy? I know I do. I would just love to kind of hear, I guess, the effect that it's had and what you've like learned from it. Not to try and put a positive spin on it, because it's shitty either way, but I would just love to know, I guess, your guys' thoughts. I don't know. I'm trying to like keep it consistent with like, I don't know. Why is it so hard? It feels like I'm like, I don't know, picking a
Can I
favorite
go
or
before I
something.
forget my train
Yes,
of thought?
yeah, please.
Okay, so I hope I'm going to say this the correct way. And I hope that when I say this doesn't come off wrong. But I love hearing women speak on this, and not because I like to see anyone suffer or to see like their downfalls, but it makes me so happy that I can see people that I relate to. And I'm like, holy shit, thank you so much for sharing this so I don't feel so alone. And it makes me feel bad having those thoughts, because I don't want it to come off being like, oh, I'm glad that this person's getting ripped to shreds and talked shit about and made fun of, because I wish that didn't happen at all. But watching that and being able to have those thoughts and feelings really helped me cope. That I'm like, okay, I understand that this happens to everybody, so that's helpful. And that's why I love other social medias. Is Twitch, it's live, and I can't watch all my friends' streams all at the same time. But if you guys go and post on YouTube or Twitter or TikTok, and I can watch what happened later and relate to you and feel your emotions, that's really helpful to me. When I first started on Twitch, I did not delete people for being shitty. I wanted everyone to stay around. I wanted to grow as much as possible. And if I could go back to little baby Serena when I first started, to be like, delete anyone for any reason, get them out of there. Like, I wish I could tell myself that, because I allowed way too many people to stay around who were shitty. And I have to, like, honestly, thank you to my mods. Like, my mods, my VIPs, I've had multiple conversations with a lot of people who are very, very close to me. And they were like, if you wouldn't let your best friend talk to you like this, why are you letting a random stranger talk to you like this? Like, no one deserves to be in your space if they're going to treat you like shit. And I think that has, like, and I say, like, oh, I'm working on it. And sometimes I am, but sometimes I still let shit slide. And I think at the end of the day, it is because I am a woman and that I am a people pleaser. And I try really hard to, like, step back and be like, would a man be talked to like this? And if I have that thought and I'm like, fuck no. Like, no one would say that to a man, or that statement, like a man would laugh that in a face. And I'm like, oh, well, we can delete that. We can ban that, because fuck that, you know? And I'm just really blessed. I have a community who backs me and supports me. And now, like you said, like, there has been times where I'm like, that was rude. I really can't, like, and especially when it's live. Like, I know all of you guys have had shitty things said to y'all live. It's like, how do you get over that while you're live? Because that was, like, one of the hurtfulest things someone has ever said to me. And I gotta act like that shit didn't fucking bother me when it did. You know, so there has been times where I've cut streams short, unfortunately. But I think it's better than just sitting there being like, fuck, I'm sad and depressed. And, like, I feel like you can tell when a streamer has hit their point. But honestly, going and crying and talking about it to anybody, a friend, a mod, I don't see a therapist as of right now, but I can totally understand seeing this as something very valid and important to talk to a therapist about. But if anyone else wants to share good ways to cope about stuff like that, I'm down to hear some other thoughts.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I know I still struggle a lot with like the people pleasing side of things. And that's exactly why I keep Sad Girl around. She just handles everything for me. So yeah, so get a friend that's comfortable being mean to men. It's great.
Okay, I'll call on you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, anytime.
Sad Girl, if you want to go next.
Sure. I hope this doesn't. I'm definitely not trying to like undermine anyone's experience or feelings. I feel like it doesn't generally affect me that much because when it comes to men, I have a little bit of a narcissistic attitude. Like I'm fundamentally better than you, so I really don't care what you say to me. And I've also noticed that, and call me out if this is fucked up. I'm not trying to like pigeonhole women's personalities, but I've noticed that when I play games, especially shooters, with my female friends that are more traditionally feminine or soft spoken, that they tend to be a magnet for that kind of sexist attitude just a little bit more than I am. I feel like I don't encounter it as much. I don't know if it's because my personality is a little more aggressive and masculine, and they don't want to like square up with me, and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna pick a target that I think is easier."
I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you feel like as being more feminine, and I know I've watched your
Yeah.
streams and stuff, and I love your background. Like, but
Thank
does
you.
that attract? Do you think that kind of like?
It's like it's weird that you said that because as soon as you were saying that, I was like, "Is this bitch talking about me?" Like in the most respectfulest way. It's so weird because absolutely, Havoc was talking about it earlier, and it took her a long time to speak in public lobbies, and it is so hard for me to get comfortable doing so, especially live on Twitch, because you do not know what these motherfuckers are gonna say, and a lot of times if they know you're streaming, they are gonna try to break TOS almost instantly. And so it's hard. I've really avoided COD like the plague because of comments like that. And I don't know. I feel like yes, I do agree with that statement. I feel like some of the girls who are more I don't really know how to say, like, not feminine, but someone who's gonna be more to stand their ground instead of someone like me. I'm just gonna take it if you're mean to me, which I wish I wasn't like that, and I'm trying to get better at it. But I feel like it's pretty obvious that if someone wanted to talk shit, you could talk shit to me and you'll get away with it. But like you said, if someone's gonna talk shit to you, or it sounds like if someone talks shit to cheer, you guys are gonna say something. So I think I just need to sit and watch you guys speak to men and take some notes.
I love it. I love it. Cheer, this is your wheelhouse. Let's what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's funny. I have like a before and an after. So like previously I used to like I would never talk about it because I'd be like, yeah, like these losers are paying my bills. The more toxic they are, I'm just gonna make a video out of it and then like it's fine. Also, kind of like how Sad Girl dealt with the swatting. Before I ever started streaming, right before the pandemic started, I was actually part of a lawsuit. Trigger warning, sexual assault. Me and a bunch of other women were sued by a serial rapist for spreading the stories about him and for warning other women about like, hey, like stop talking to this dude. He's been doing this for years. Everyone's known. It was kind of a hush hush thing, but like we are bringing it to light. We won. Fuck that dude. So like that was my like I was like I just want a lawsuit against a fucking rapist. Like these guys don't matter. But then over the summer I posted like this horrible COD lobby. I posted like a TikTok but also on Twitter. And because Twitter is what it is now, the worst people to ever exist on the planet found the video. It was these dudes like saying the N-word, singing racist songs, being absolutely horrible. And they were like, I've never gotten so much hate. It got millions of views. I was getting emails. I was getting so many threats, and it like bubbled up into like this whole big thing that like I still don't talk about what happened on like publicly, but it was not good, and I now have PTSD from it. So I go to therapy. I'm on Zoloft, and I find that now since all that, like I still am me, but I'm a little bit more like, ugh, could this trigger another like wave of absolute horribleness? And I'm always just like, I get a follow and I'm like, are you a terrible person?
Mm.
So I'm kind of more on edge than I used to be, but I'm also go to therapy once a week and I'm medicated.
I'm really proud of you for going to therapy and for seeking help. I know that that is really difficult to like take those first steps. So I'm very proud of you for that. That's amazing. And I'm glad that you're still, you know, defending yourself and defending women in this space. But yeah, definitely do not want to see anybody go through any of that. That's terrible. I'm so sorry. Gosh, men suck. No.
Mhm.
Ariel, if you want to round out the conversation here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I think so. When I started, also very big people pleaser. I still am to a degree, but I have evolved. I think it's just one of those things where I've learned we have to give ourselves grace and know that there's no right answer to everything into every scenario, and everything you could have the same scenario on 2 different days and you need to handle it 2 different ways. And
Mhm.
I think sometimes we just have to remember to give ourselves grace in that scenario. There are some days where I have the energy to, be a little playful about it, feed into it a little bit, but not too much. And there are some days where I'm just like, for my best benefit, I just have to push this out, ban, move on. And I think you have to be aware of your own state of mind, and however you want to handle that at that time, let yourself handle it that way. Make sure you've got a good support system. My mods, I'm so thankful for, because they can tell when I'm having my bad days, and they can know, hey, let's just take care of this. You just keep doing your thing. And I'm so grateful for that. But I think it's definitely like there's some days I can play into it and be fine, and there's some days where I can't, and that's okay. So,
Can I ask a question
mhm.
off of that? So, kind of like she said, and I feel like this is kind of answering the question, but I love when I go into someone's stream and I watch like a streamer, like not necessarily like pop off to a viewer, but I like to see a streamer like stand up and say their boundaries and be like, enough. Like, that's not cool. Like, when do you guys think, like, when do you say something a little bit more aggressive and when do you go with a ban? Or like you said, is it just like day to day?
I mean, I would say, so I'm not in the COD world as much, so I will say that has like made a huge difference in the amount of toxicity that I've received now. For me, I know that it's more of like I don't come across it. I'm not really an aggressive person, so for me, I don't necessarily like go back at them. I usually like kind of play dumb. Like I've gotten the good old, what size do you prefer thing, and I'm like, oh, venti, because like why not just like go back? Like I'm kind of more just sarcastic, so I guess I don't really have a good answer otherwise. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's typically like more of my go-to is like if it's my mods or they're going after someone in my community, that's when I like draw the line. But for me, if I'm gonna go back, it's usually more sarcasm.
I like that though. Because I never want to come off as like rude or super toxic, but I feel like sometimes like you literally, I don't know if like putting someone in their place is the right term, but like sometimes it's just like if you're gonna say that shit, I do enjoy a little sassy remark or sarcastic, like something to let that person know, like, yo, bro, that wasn't cool, you know? But I feel like I can never, like, I talk a big game right now. Like, I know I sound right now like, oh, I know what I want to say. But when it happens live, I never have the courage to do it.
Mhm. I feel like I need like improv classes. Like
Yeah.
I just straight up like if someone comes in chat and is being weird, I'll just straight up be like, "You're being kind of weird right now, and if you don't stop, like I don't want you around." And then, but also like I did like my whole thing is that like I clap back. So when everyone's like, "I can't believe you're being so rude," I'm like, "What the fuck did you expect? Have you not seen my content?" Like, that's what I do. So kind of, yeah, I'm just straight up like, why are you being weird? Stop it.
I like that though.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I don't know. There have been a couple of times where it's just like somebody came in on my birthday like last year and was being mean about my weight. And I was just like, okay, like your dick probably stinks. Like, get out. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, it's my birthday. Literally, leave me alone. But I'm not always that mean. It was just like, seriously, like trying to ruin my birthday. What the fuck? Like, go elsewhere. Yeah, I love it. I feel like I definitely need improv classes though. Like, I feel like I always love Cheers clapbacks, and I just like cannot think that quickly because I get like so flustered.
I tell everyone, hot girls don't gatekeep. Just use my lines until you come up with your own. Just repeat what I say. It's fine.
I'm gonna put like a post-it on my monitor, like just your top 3 comebacks.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you. So Sad Girl and I have been talking a lot this week. We've been like analyzing song lyrics, and we've read a couple books recently that had like kind of feminist what do I want to say, like themes. So we've been talking a lot about like where we think that sexism is rooted, like where it comes from. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts about like, why do you think it's so common in this space? What do you think breeds it? I don't know. What do you think's going on in their little pea brains when this happens? I would love to hear. Sad Girl, if you want to start us off.
Sure. I think a lot of it's insecurity. I noticed like you talked about that study where they saw that like lower elo, lower skill men are more likely to be aggressive. And I noticed that in like, playing Valorant. It was my first FPS game, and I went, Iron to Ascendant. So I've been through the ranks. And as I've gotten to Ascendant, I'm like playing ranked. I pretty much only play ranked. I'll go through like 30 games and never encounter anyone who's like that to me. And I noticed that like when I was in bronze and silver, that was probably like the worst of it. And I think that a lot of it just has to do with like, some of it's like, I think some of it's showing off for their friends in just a very childish way where I'm like, are you 15? Maybe you are 15. I don't know. But I think some of it is rooted in insecurity too, where they know that they're not that good at the game. So they have to make themselves feel better by like taking the distraction off of them, taking the focus off of them, sorry. And putting it on you. Because again, like when I was saying about how I feel like I get targeted less than my friends that are a little bit more traditionally feminine, it's their kind of assessment of what they think is weak. And that's a really common thing for bullies to do, is to target who they think is going to be the easiest and weakest prey to go after.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Ariel, if you want to go next.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I agree. Insecurity was the first thing that came to mind. I mean, I kind of think of the comparison of like relationships when it comes to like how the female dresses. There's some men that are like, oh, you can't dress this way because they're insecure about it. Whereas the ones that are super sound, they don't care what you're doing. They're just happy to be around you. And I think it just kind of goes back to that. Can't think of anything really to add. I just kind of agree on all those stances. Yeah.
Absolutely. Serena, what about you?
So I'm going to say something that might be a little bit of a, little spicy conversation. I'm going to preface this saying I do not have kids, so I'm not a parent, so I can't speak for any parents because I'm not a parent. But I think with like the whole internet bullying and not just like in the gaming world, I do not think that parents talk to their kids nearly enough than they should about how you should act on the internet, let alone on how you should interact and play a video game. But I also think parents don't always have the knowledge. Like, a lot of parents don't sit down and play video games and realize, like, how talk like I can almost guarantee you there's a lot of parents who don't know that their 13, 14, 15, 6-year-old are talking all that shit. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that there is some parents out there who do know that their kid is a little butthole, respectfully. But I do, and I don't even know how to start that conversation because I'm not a parent, and I wouldn't know how to tell parents to start having more important conversations with their kids when it comes to the internet in general. But I think a huge part of it is parents are not listening and having conversations with their kids when it comes to gaming or internet in general. And it makes me really sad because I think it's almost, and I can't, I feel bad talking about this because I don't have kids and I don't think I can speak on this a lot, but I almost feel like sometimes those parents are like failing their kids in certain aspects because they're going to grow up thinking that it's okay to be like this for the rest of their life if no one else has a conversation with them, letting them know that, yo, bro, that's not cool, that's not funny. Like, and I don't know how to get that conversation going on that part of it. But I agree with everything else.
Ariel, I'd love to hear your input. I know you're a mom, so what's the plan? What's that look like? Setting those boundaries with you know your kids. I don't know. I would love to hear your input there.
Yeah. So I have 4 children, and I have twins that are 11, and so they are starting to get into, like, my oldest. He just started recently really getting into Fortnite. So we've actually had these conversations as of late. Um, Kind of generally, I'm not really letting him participate in like public chatting yet. But I've had the conversation of like, there are a lot of people that are not pleasant online. And just because someone is online doesn't mean that they have the responsibility to be kind online. So we can't always take what other people are saying and mimic that. Like, we have to be very careful about who we listen to and who we let affect what we say. So I've definitely had like very minor conversations that has started. It has a long way to go, but I think that is definitely going to be something that I will have to continue to talk about. Especially he has autism, so he is very logical, and sometimes we have to work on empathy. So it is something that we will definitely be talking about a lot in the coming years.
But I love that you said like that's a conversation we'll continue to have. Like some
Hmm.
parents have like a one and done conversation of like don't be an asshole. And it's like I don't think that you can tell a kid that because
Hmm.
we all know how it was to be a teenager. We were all assholes at some point. Like, and no one can say that they weren't. I've always tried to be kind and respectful, but there's always been those asshole moments. But it's like I love that you are willing to have the same conversation in different ways multiple times. And thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Cheer. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I agree with what everyone else said. I also feel like it's like they want their like little boys club. They want their little tree house of no girls allowed, and seeing a girl in there, it just makes their mind explode. And like we also can't forget like the racism that's also involved. Like it's all these like little white boys who just want to be sexist and say slurs, and they just want it to be other little white boys playing all the time. And so it's definitely like lack of education and like empathy and just like not being exposed to anyone who's different than them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gross.
It is gross. I agree.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah.
Sorry, that made me think of like I feel like maybe we were talking about this the other day, but just this idea that when women like something, it tends to be perceived as like childish or not, or something to be made fun of. I remember like all the memes in 2009 about Uggs and Starbucks and Taylor Swift, which I guess that's still something to this day that people make fun of. But things that are typically enjoyed by women and girls are things to be made fun of, essentially, historically. And so if women are moving into this space as they are, we've seen by the numbers that Taylor showed us, then they maybe don't feel like like we're degrading the space, or the space can't be taken as seriously. Oh, if women can do it, then, or if women are enjoying it, then they're just ruining it, like they ruined Star Wars and all the other stuff that we allegedly ruin.
Yeah, like for me, it's my stuffed animals. Like people will see my stuffed animals and be like, "Are you 5?" But then men can have like a fishing collection, their little miniature doll things, figurines.
Funko Pop.
Sorry, not dolls. If I say dolls, they'll come for me. But like it's crazy, like everyone, like men can have so many collections and it's okay, but if I have my stuffy collection, like Sad Girl just said, it's a problem, it's an issue, and thank you for saying that.
Yeah, I get comments that are like, "Oh, you're in your 30s and you play video games all day, like grow up." And I'm like, "You would probably cry if you like ran into Ninja or like Tim the Tatman or something. Like you'd be like, "Oh my god, I love you." But like since I'm in my 30s and I'm playing games and I'm a woman, you're like, "Oh, what the fuck is wrong with you?"
And let's just state the fact that like Cheer has been in the same room as these people, right? Like has been invited to COD Next and things like that. Like just ridiculous. So something that I personally think, and this might be like a little spicy, I think that there is a deep rooted hate of women that comes through when there's anonymity at play. So I think that when you are able to be anonymous on the internet, the hate that you feel like deep inside in your heart comes out. And I think that yes, it has to do with insecurity and it has to do with a lack of education and things like that. But I think really at its core, it's this like deep rooted hate for women. I truly do not think that people could say the things that they say to us and not hate women. And I, like maybe that's a little bit too much of a generalization, but when we talk about like death threats and threats of violence, like those are very serious things. If someone were to look you in the eyes in real life and say those things, like you would like call the police, right? Like so I just really truly feel like it comes down to just a deep-seated hate. I don't know. But what do I know? I'm just a girl, right? Perfect. I would love to have a little bit of a conversation about how you feel like being a woman has affected your opportunities in the space. And I would love to like kind of open that conversation up to like the narrative around like booby streamers and women having it easier. So what do you feel like, I don't know, those narratives do? Like words are hard. How, like, I guess, how do you feel like that impacts the space and impacts the opportunities that we have? Do we feel like companies maybe don't take us as seriously? I would just love to hear, I guess, your guys' thoughts. And if we want to start with Cheer this time, we can do that.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen firsthand especially in the Warzone community, if anyone's familiar with Kaylee, she is like very edgy. She has like she removed it because she's trying to be more brand safe, but she used to have like a giant like 3-foot fake dildo behind her. Like she does all this stuff and she like was just never invited to Warzone events. She was never invited to anything that was like put on by Activision. Meanwhile, like Swag got the Raven logo tattooed on his ass and they made it their profile picture. And she was like, what the fuck? Like, and they're like, well, you're not brand safe. And she's like, you made someone's ass like your profile picture. And so there's definitely, I feel like we have to be more like prim and proper than the men. Like you see these dudes, they can like twerk on their chair and like grind up on their friends and like make all these sexual jokes with like their bros, and that's fine. But like if we show too much cleavage, it's like, I mean, for those who have cleavage, I'm That's not me. I wish it was, but these A cups don't do that. So like we can't do that. We have to like be very precise and like calculated about how we act and what we do. But I mean, it's the same as in person. Like in any business, we have to be like, okay, like we have to wear this and we have to do that and we have to make sure we have makeup on, but not too much makeup. And so I mean, we can't fucking escape it.
So true. When you said like twerking on chairs, I've seen guys like deep throat their mics. Yeah. Yeah. That's like the first image that came to my mind. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like just I think yesterday Nadeshot like quote tweeted the new Call of Duty finisher. He's like, I'm gonna take so many dudes from behind. And it's like everyone's like, haha, that's so funny. But if a girl said that, they'd be like, oh, you fucking whore. Like, yeah, I can't stand it.
Serena, what about you?
I feel like this is such a toss up because I'm not family friendly, and so I always worry if like that's like breaking my brand because I have had people come in and be like, you should be family friendly if you want to get more sponsorships or more brand deals and stuff like that. But also like that's not me and that's not the community I want to foster. Which again, I'm not like other than cussing and stuff like that, I don't do anything super crazy or, I'm just a silly little goose. What can I say? But going back to kind of what Cheers said, like it's hard because I feel like I have seen like the pretty privilege and the titties work for some women. And for some women to be like, it doesn't work at all. It's like it does, but I also see that it doesn't. Like for me, I'm not a big content creator and I average between 20 to 30 viewers on average. And to me, I am happy with that. And at some point there was a time where I was like, I never thought I would hit 20 to 40, let alone, But there's been days where I can get my tits out, look good in a corset, do my hair, my makeup. I take 2.5, 3 hours and my average stays the same. And then there's days where I will put my hair in a bun and a t-shirt and barely any makeup and my average will still be the same. So for me, it's hard to be like, does it work? Does it not work? Because for me, I haven't seen a lot of crazy growth when I do have my little titties showing my cleavage out. But I have seen it work for women who do it day in and day out and who really push themselves for that. But also, again, there's an audience for anyone and everyone. And if that's the audience you're trying to cater, then I feel like you'll grow that audience regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that, like, the guys that are angry about booby streamers, like, would not get those viewers if that woman was not on Twitch, right?
Yes.
Like, so, like, let's be real. You're not stealing viewers by having a certain brand that could work for you. I think you're right. It's I've seen it work with people that it's like it's part of their brand, right? It's not like a one-time like, oh, here's a little bit of cleavage, let's see if this gets me a couple extra viewers today. But I do think that there's like the cool girl aesthetic, but there's also like very much like a sexy girl aesthetic that you can play into. It's just part of branding, I think. And it's not something that I could ever pull off. I wish. But
I think also like for them, to the original question, like would it make it easier? I think that the audience that they would get could be very difficult to handle and to like navigate. So like they could say it's easier, because they're getting 10 or 20 more viewers than this other streamer, but what they're dealing with in return is probably just so much worse. It's like when guys are like, oh, girls can just go get free drinks, and I'm like, yeah, but they might be drugged. Like, is it really worth that privilege of having the free drink and your life's in the balance? It's I think it's a little bit of like a tricky thing to navigate.
No, I agree. I can't imagine the DMs for some of those ladies like just have to be
But
vile.
at the end of the day, like I like the top streamers, like most of them are not female in general, but none of them are really titty streamers. So it's like I hate, like, even when that guy asked me the other day, he's like, "Do you make money on video games because you're a girl?" And it's like, go look at all the men, like the top streamers who are men. Like, do y'all know who the top female streamer is?
I don't. I would
think it
guess.
was
No,
it was
I don't. Yeah.
Pokey, but she's not on Twitch anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, it's, you know, and obviously Pokey isn't a titty streamer, but it's like, it's crazy that like when men hear the word girl in streaming and gaming, that's their first thought. And to me, it's almost like, oh, is that what you want to watch? Is that what you're envisioning? Because to me, that's not what Twitch is. Yes, that's on there, but there's so much more, and I think it really is more on of a tell on them being
Mhm.
like, "Oh, that's your first thought." You know, I that makes sense to me. I
It's
get
one of
it.
those things where it's like, it's a for you page, bud. So if that's what's showing up on your for you page, not my problem.
Mhm.
I think the same thing about like TikTok for you pages. Like, oh, it's just a bunch of teenagers dancing. I don't know. I don't have teenagers dancing on my for you page.
Yeah.
That's a you problem.
I do have hot bitches on TikTok, but that is a for you page for me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Ariel, what about you? You know, we talked a little bit, I think, about like having it easier as a woman. What are your thoughts there?
This is something that I've had to come to terms with in many ways. So I will say there is the advantage of initial first impressions, is what I've found. But I don't care how beautiful a person is, how stunning they are to look at. If you're not intrigued with them as a person, you're not going to watch them for hours. Like you might like be drawn in for a moment, but they're not going to stick around if you're not actually attracted to their personality, to their content, whatever it is that they do. So I can understand and sympathize with the first impression aspect, if that makes sense. Um, for me, it's kind of like a catch-22 because I struggle a lot with this. I mean, again, like a little bit of a trigger here, but like with my history of like body dysmorphia and eating disorders and all this stuff, I have a really hard time with hearing people chalk up success to the way that I look because if you are pushing that narrative, then you are saying then you're limiting my ability to do what you want me to do. If you want me to focus on my content, then you need to be pushing the narrative of my content, not the way that I look. So that's where I struggle a lot with, and I've had like conversations with people. Like, if you don't want people's appearances to be the reason they're successful, then we need to stop having those conversations. We need to start talking about what if you want my content to improve in a certain way, then let's talk content. If we talk about my body, then that's just going to continue pushing the unhealthy narrative that somehow how we look makes us successful, and it doesn't help your argument. It just kind of pushes what you don't want all at
Can
the
I
same
add
time.
something onto that?
Mhm.
One of my friends, I think her name was Astra, but she posted it on Twitter the other day, probably like 2 weeks ago, and she had tweeted, she's like, I work my ass off as a content creator, and sometimes it's so hard when a viewer is just like, you're so beautiful, and that's why you're an amazing content creator. And she's like, I don't want to come off as rude or hurtful because I don't want them to know like I don't appreciate that comment. But it's like I am more than being beautiful or pretty or my makeup looks good today. She's like, I put so much time and effort into my TikToks, my streams, me playing the game. Like, it's crazy. And I don't see that happen for a lot of men. And maybe that's just me. And maybe I'm a little bit naive. But a lot of times in guys' channels, it's you're really great at the game, or you know, you're really good at this or that. And it's like, we can give the praise to the men who are putting in all that work. But like you just said, you know, like Ariel was spot on with that. Like for us as women, it's and I feel like sometimes I add to the problem because I love going into my friends' chats being like, "You are so fucking hot. I love you," you know. And I think that I'm allowed to have those relationships with my friends once I know somebody, you know. I'm not going to go into someone's random chat and just start, you know, going off like that. But I think I need to, and I've gotten better at doing it. Like if I'm giving someone a compliment, I try really hard to be like, you are very smart and beautiful. You know, I try to give a compliment that's not always, like you said, about your body, especially when it's a woman, you know. But women are so beautiful, it's almost hard not to sometimes. But I'm really glad that you brought that up because I think that there's so many of us who can understand
Mm.
what you've been through.
Yeah. Well, and I think you need to give yourself grace in the fact that like there's nothing wrong with compliments about physical appearances.
Mhm.
Where I struggle with it is when that is given credit to your success. That's like
Absolutely.
that's your value is
Mhm.
your looks. You can absolutely be beautiful, and I am like, especially from other women, like that means the world to me to hear. But like, I mean, I appreciate the men too, but come on,
Yeah.
you know, it's just different when it's from a woman. But but no, in all seriousness, it just comes down to like what value you place on that. If that's all that your worth is,
Mhm.
then that's different. But coming from somebody that is going to appreciate more than that, it doesn't matter to me if your compliment is just physical. So,
Mhm.
No, I agree. And I think, you know, it leaks into other parts of our lives too. Like, uh, you know, we brought up like, you can't wear too much makeup. You have to wear some makeup. Your hair has to be done. Like, there's so many parts of our lives where we're kind of put into a box of like, okay, this is, you know, this is what a good, you know, good woman does. This is what a good woman looks like. This is, you know, so yeah, I don't know. I definitely will take compliments about my appearance from women, but I would much rather hear about like how I helped someone or how I changed someone's day or I don't know, something a little bit more profound. I don't know.
I like being told I'm funny. Like
Oh, yeah.
that's such a good one. Like a personality one I try to give out too. I think that's good too. But it does suck when it's just your looks and someone thinks you are getting paid just because you're beautiful
Mhm.
or pretty.
Yeah.
It's like no, that ain't it, bud, but thanks.
I would love to hear have you guys ever felt the need to adjust your femininity in this space? And kind of along the same lines, what are our thoughts on pick me girls? Let's start with Ariel.
okay, so I started off I my views have changed honestly regarding life in general. This isn't just exclusive to like gaming and streaming, but I used to be that like very I mean, I still am to a degree. I'm a little more obnoxious now, but I'm like I was super soft spoken. I was afraid to even laugh on camera. I wouldn't even eat on camera. Like I had to be like so prim and proper all the time. And that has gotten better as I've like been able to get more comfortable and confident in myself. But yeah, again, that wasn't like exclusive to streaming. That's how I was on the day to day. Um, and I've am coming into my own, and it's a great feeling. But I did for a very long time let how other people would see me, you know, affect my content in the way that I live my life. So it's changed, but it definitely was a big factor for probably the first year at least. So
Can I ask, are you from the South? I feel like that's just like a very Southern thing to like try and be that prim and proper, like on camera.
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Try not to let the accent through really hard. Try not to have an accent, but yes.
I don't know how I clocked that, but yeah, that just very much sounded like something a friend from the South would say. So, well, thank you. I appreciate it. Actually, one more question. Do you feel like your dance background had anything to do with that?
Um
To a degree, to a degree. I think just like the idea of like being a woman for a long time was just I need to be the safe place for everybody. I need to take the background when I need to take the background. And I grew up very conservative as well. So it's just like all of my background kind of culminated, I think, not one necessarily specific circumstance, but all of it together for sure,
Yeah,
100%. Mhm.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, cheer. I saw the eye roll when we talked about pick me girls. I want to hear whatever you have to say. I need to know.
They're just the worst, and they need to get through their brains that the men that they're trying to impress will never respect them. And it's so like it's so frustrating to be like, open your fucking eyes. Like, you're trying to impress them, but they're just going to treat you the same way they're treating me right now down the line, and you are helping no one by engaging in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't say I was a pick me, but I was uneducated as like a teen. Like, my MySpace page, I was like slut free, like hate sluts. And then like when I was like 19, my like new boyfriend was like, "You're a feminist, right?" And I was like, "No, like I don't hate men, and I like shaving my armpits." And he was like, "Oh my god, read a book." And like, look at me now. Actually, I just realized I've been typing the letter V into our chat nonstop. Let me click somewhere. I'm using push to talk. So yeah, like it's just they're infuriating because like I know you can do better. I need you to be smart. Like, you use your little noggin and support other women.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of a quote. I just pulled it up. Often, father and daughter look down on mother together. They exchange meaningful glances when she misses a point. They agree that she is not as bright as they are, cannot reason as they do. This collusion does not save the daughter from the mother's fate. And I think that that is very profound. Like, just because you've aligned yourself with someone does not mean that they will, protect you in the long run. And I think that that's exactly what happens with, quote, pick me girls. I do feel like I love women. Don't get me wrong, just adore them. And I think part of me feels bad for them a lot of the time, because it really is like part of like your coming of age story. I feel like to like grow out of that, and I just like hope that all of them grow out of it, but I don't think they all do. So Serena, what about you?
And this is probably a toxic trait of mine, and I'm trying really hard to like overcome this and get over this. But for me, I always try to see the best in people, and I always think like people who are bullying me or pick me girls, I'm like, there's just no way that they know what they're doing. There's just no way. Like in my head, I'm like, that person does not know how rude they're fucking being right now. And sometimes I step back and I'm like, Serena, you're so fucking dumb. Like, there's no way that that bitch does not know what the fuck that they're doing. So it's almost like a double-edged sword. Like sometimes I see it, but sometimes I'm like, I have to be like, no, there's just no way. There's just no way. But I've always, and like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure I've been mean and I've bullied people in the past, and I've always tried not to. Though I try to be a girl's girl. I always try to be kind. And if I do hurt someone's feelings, like it makes me cry and it makes me feel bad. Like I was playing like Overcooked with a couple of my friends the other day, and I was slightly rude to my friend the other night, and I like it kept me up at night the other day. I was like, fuck me, I was so rude to my friend, and I apologized to her, and she's like, you were not fucking rude, bitch. Like what? But for me, I'm like, I hope that these people truly don't know what they're doing, or like you said, maybe coming of age will help. Maybe if they're put in the opposite situation, they can learn, they can grow. Because I always want to be like, people deserve second chances, but there's also that part of me who's getting older, and I'm like, not fuck that bitch. Like you should, at some point, people should just know better. And it's that gray area of like, when should someone know better? And like, how do you really know if that person knows that they're being mean or not? But for pick me girls, I stay away from pick me girls. Like if I think at the end of the day that someone is a pick me girl, I'm done. I'm out of there. Like I want to see you be a girl. I want to see you be supportive of other people and just having fun, And so I think just trying to stay away from that is very helpful to like my headspace, and maybe that just keeps me dumb into being like, nah, fuck that. People aren't actually like that, or people don't get that they're actually like that. But at the end of the day, that I do feel like there's some people who do know what they're doing,
Mhm.
and I don't know how to navigate that.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. I know for a long time, like, um, I don't know, like looking back on like my teenage years, right? It was like, oh no, I hate pink. Like, oh, every girl, like, oh, girls, like, I'm not like the other girls, I don't like pink and like things like that. And it took so long to like realize that, that was like the patriarchy, conditioning me to be a certain way. So I try really hard to like, I don't know, I guess see like the other point of view and try to help like in the small portion of time that I'm with them to like navigate it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just very hard when, that aggression is like turned on women. It's a lot of like deep rooted misogyny that they just don't know that they have. So it's really interesting. Sagirl, what about you?
I think everyone has said everything that I could think of for pick me's, but the other part of your question was about like femininity in the gaming space, and so I kind of wanted to bring up something. This might be like controversial, or if you disagree, that's totally fine. But I I think it's great that the narrative about being feminine in gaming spaces is changing, and we're getting more girls in there. Um, but I've also noticed that with these conversations comes a tremendous pressure for me playing video games to be the one that's like super nice and not toxic and like nice try every round. I don't know if that makes sense. Because that's not me. I'm very aggressive. I'm very competitive when I play ranked and when I play comp. Like we're all yelling at each other and screaming at each other. You dumbass! Why the fuck would you be in that? He has a shotgun. Like, and there's been times where I've almost been pushed not to be less feminine, but to be more feminine, like to be more soft spoken or like, and I don't know. Like I don't want to advocate like, I should be allowed to be toxic in video games, but sometimes I want to rage and yell at my teammate. And like I don't like the idea that like because I'm a woman now I have the burden on me to like be the nice one or the calm one or the making everything keeping the peace, because you know me, that's not me. I can't keep the peace for shit.
Yeah. I think there's a huge difference between like being like toxic in way of like, racism and sexism and things like that, and like roasting your teammate because they're an idiot. So no, I definitely don't want you to ever feel like you need to like keep the peace when we're playing together. Like that's not your role, and that's not our role as women to be like these peacekeepers and like fuel everyone's egos. Like that's not what we're here for. We're we
See,
should.
for me, when I play video games, I play for fun. I play for the giggles. I'm a memer. I'll play Fortnite. I'll hide in the bush. I'll do silly stuff. Like I'll hide in the backseat of the car and see if someone else will drive me away. You know. But normally when I play with new people, especially if I feel like this person could potentially be a friend of mine that I play with consistently, I try to let them know like my boundaries, things I'm okay with, things that I'm not okay with. And that's helped, but also it's been weird having conversations with men sometimes being like, why are you telling me how to play a video game? Like, why are you telling me this? And it's like, oh, well, men don't have these conversations ever being like, hey, can you not be super aggressive? Or like backseating, holy fuck shit titties. Some people are totally fine with backseating. Don't fucking backseat me. I will do absolutely horrible if someone starts backseating me. Like, I cannot have someone be super aggressive in that form. Now, if I'm being a dumb bitch and I walk into a squad and I've left my whole team, absolutely be like, Serena, you're a dumb bitch for leaving your team. But I think that for me, it's been nice to talk about it with people. But I think, like I said, it's weird having conversations with guys because I can see that's not the normal. And I don't know if y'all have conversations with y'all's community when y'all play games with other people.
What do you mean?
Like, especially like on viewer day, like I have set rules for viewer day.
Mhm.
Like if you're playing with someone new for the first time, because I think like sometimes it's hard playing with someone who doesn't play the same way that you do.
Mhm. Yeah, I definitely like if we're memeing, we go into it saying we're memeing. If we're
Mhm.
like going into win, we go into it saying that we're gonna do that. And I always try to point out well, this person's new at the game, try and teach them, try and help them along. So yeah, I think like 90% of issues can be solved with communication, but maybe that's just me.
Women.
Yeah. Okay, I have to, just because this was brought up in chat. Can we talk about the lack of pink skins in Valorant? What is going on? Please, someone explain to me. I
You know
want
how
all
much
pink.
money they would make if every
Dude,
skin that they had there was just a pink variant? Reaver
s-
Vandal, pink variant. Like
I
each one, so
I
much
would spend
money.
so much money. It would be insane. I think for Valentine's Day they should have done like a pink variant, like chroma for like the top 5 skins or something. I think that would have went over really, really well. Don't get me wrong, like they definitely played into the whole like e-dater thing, and like good for them, but like you know um give me a pink skin please, for the love of God. It's like I should look up the statistic, because now I'm just like lying. But like it's like a big part of your like player base, right? Like it might not be 50%, but like come on. It's a large part of your player base that you're just ignoring. It's ridiculous. I'm so sorry. I had to go off on that tangent because it's something that I've been angry about for a very long time. Um I I would love to hear whether it's inside or outside of gaming. Maybe share, like, as a woman, what do you worry about most? This can be, dark alleys. This can be, letting down, I don't know, people in your life, your husband, whatever it is. I don't know. What is something that is really important to you that like you tend to worry about? We'll start with Serena.
Probably a lot, honestly. Um, Really in the gaming world, I always feel like I try to compare myself to others, and I almost always have to stop myself the second I do it because like the comparison is like the theft of joy, and I hate comparing myself to others. But I always think that I'm not good enough. And I have so many community members who love my content, who show up continuously all the time. If I'm not live when I say I'm going to be live, I get messages being like, "Where are you at? Are you feeling okay?" Like, I have a community that loves me and supports me, and I never thought that I'd get there. But then I get that one mean comment, and I'm like, nope, no one fucking likes me. No one loves me. No one supports me. And it's so hard for me. I don't understand. Like, I could have 500 nice comments and one mean comment, and my day is fucking ruined. So that's something I'm trying to overcome and be like, all right, fuck the hater, move on. Um, and that's also like just in anything in general. Like, no matter what I do, I'm always like, I am not good enough. I don't deserve to be at this table. And that's a big goal for myself in 2024 is to be kinder to myself and to take more shots. Like, if I see a job application open up that I think I'm a good fit for, I'm going to submit myself. A sponsorship on stream, I'm going to submit myself. I want to be at these tables and I want to be bigger and better. And the only way I can do that is to push myself. And so I think I need to be comfortable not being comfortable.
Mhm.
um, and then for like a real life situation, I don't like to be by myself ever. If I'm traveling for modeling or acting or cons or anything, I almost always have someone with me, just as a safety feature, factor, whatever you want to call it. And there's been some weird comments on that. They're like, "Well, why can't you travel by yourself? Like, why don't you want to travel by yourself?" And I think at the end of the day, it does come back to me being a woman. I like the other day I had a really weird situation at a Dollar General, and I think it's because I looked cute and I was a woman by myself, and this man approached me and was following me, and it was very weird. I mean, I don't want to get into that, but I almost always feel like when I'm by myself in public, I almost always have a weird, suspicious activity happen to me because I am a woman, and I know that someone would be like, "Oh, that's you can't say that. That always happens." Like, especially when I tell men in my life that happens, they're like, "There's no way that stuff like that happens to you all the time." And I'm like, "Why the fuck would I say that?"
Why would I
So
make that
yeah,
up? Yeah.
I in general I don't like being by myself.
Yeah. I would like to point out that both of those things are not things that men typically struggle with, right?
Mhm.
Like, men think that they're the bee's knees. They are much more likely to apply for a position that they're not qualified for. They don't, carry their keys between their fingers as a weapon. Like, those are things that I love my husband to pieces, but he thinks he is just like God's gift to earth, right? Like, he would never in a million years think like he doesn't belong at a certain table. So I don't know. I guess I would challenge everyone to I don't know, think a bit more deep about oh, my grandma's in the chat. Everyone say hi, Grammy. Hi, Grammy.
Hi, Grammy.
Hi, Grammy.
Um, so yeah, I guess I would just challenge everybody to consider that, like, that is the biggest thing that like is on Serena's mind right now, and it is not something that men traditionally face. So I don't know, just a little nugget to think on a little bit. Cheer, what about you?
I have anxiety. I worry about everything at all times, forever. I like everything. My cat's dying, my house on fire. I was just streaming before and I was like, I smell something. I need to make sure my house isn't on fire. Someone was just having like a little fire outside. Yeah, dying all the time, scared of that, scared of the dark. Since I'm like kind of small, I have a fear that like someone could just scoop me up on the sidewalk and start running. It's like I live in New York City, so like we're all walking everywhere. I'm afraid someone will do that. I'm afraid of everything. I'm not afraid of heights though. I'm fine with flying at cheerleading. They throw me in the air. I'm good. Everything else terrifying.
That is, I understand. I struggle with anxiety as well. And fear of the dark is a real one for me. That is, I talk about this a lot. I take nightlights with me everywhere I go. Like, it is a real thing. It is very, very real. No, I appreciate you sharing, and I'm glad that you found Zoloft. Hopefully it stops giving you headaches.
Fingers crossed.
Ariel, what about you?
Spiders. No, I know that's like the most
no,
cliche
fair.
thing. I can do anything else in the world, but not spiders. But no, for me, it's more so like I don't have a specific streaming fear or a specific life fear that's not just like the standard that hasn't already been mentioned. For me, it's I've experienced the discomfort of those worlds colliding. And I never thought that that was something that I would have to deal with because like I never expected this to go anywhere. But I've been like recognized 4 times locally, 2 minutes from my house, and the anxiety that happened, especially having children, was very, very high. And also, like, I'm a dance teacher for 3 local studios. I work with children a lot. If I do not have I have an 18 and up stream. So I had a student follow me on Instagram one time and I had a heart attack. I don't have any of my socials with my name attached for a reason. And the fact that that was able to be found was really unnerving to me. Also, wondering if that's going to affect any of my positions at my jobs because of thankfully I have fantastic directors and they all know now what I do, especially after this past weekend. So grateful for that, but that's a scary thing for me. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Safety, especially for your kids. I truly cannot imagine like having little humans that are like my whole life and feeling like I can't, this is going to sound bad, but like can't control everything.
Yeah.
That would be terrifying.
No, 100%.
Sad girl, what about you?
I think safety is a big one. I think just any gendered experience to me is a big one, which sounds like it's bad. Because I don't hate being a woman. I hope it has not come across that way. I love being a woman. I hate people perceiving me being a woman, if that makes sense. In my full-time job, I work as a sales representative, and it's a very good old boy club. It's a very old-fashioned job where I'm literally selling to retailers and I'm the middleman, and it's jobs that barely exist anymore. And one manufacturer that was going to hire me, he was like, I can't hire you. You're going to want to have kids someday. And I was like, I'm not pregnant. I don't have kids. You also can't discriminate against someone if they are, obviously. But it's just the fact that my body is capable of doing that. I don't want kids. Disqualified me from a job that would have made me a ton of money and been a great opportunity for me and opened up a lot of other doors for me. And that's just crazy to me. And thinking about how many other times that's happened in my life, and I don't know because they don't say that out loud, but that is the driving factor, really freaks me out because I never know how seriously someone's taking me or what someone thinks about me, because obviously it's not legal to discriminate against someone because of their gender, so they won't say it out loud, but that could always be a deciding factor in the back of someone's mind, and I just don't know.
And it's so sad. Like, men will be like, stuff like this doesn't happen. And then just listening to you guys tonight, hearing everyone's different thoughts and things that they've dealt with, and it's just like, it happens. And it happens to women every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And I think especially, Sad Girl talked like sales positions. I've been in sales for most of my adult life, and the borderline abuse that you have to take from customers, and a lot of it can be based in gender bias, is just absolutely insane. You might have a company or a boss that's not discriminating, but your clients or your customers are.
I had a customer kiss my face one time.
Oh,
out of nowhere.
I would.
And I was so I didn't even react because I was so floored. I was like,
I would have
Ew.
died. I would have actually just simply passed away. I used to work at Best Buy. I'm just gonna say it. I used to work at Best Buy, and I was the sales supervisor. So I oversaw computing, home theater, and appliances, right? I literally trained the sales associates, okay? Their training came from me, and I would have men come in looking at TVs, and I would greet them, and they would to my face tell me that they wanted to speak to a man. Okay, I will do that. I will go get you a man. So I would go get one of my favorite sales associates, and he'd come up, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, she taught me everything she knows." And I just love those little times where you can just I don't know, put them in their place a little bit, even professionally, is just God tier. So Sad Girl, I would love to know the name of that manufacturer so I could kick them in the shins. That is absolutely deplorable. I cannot believe that that happened to you. It's 2024. Jeez. You know? Ridiculous. I think Sad Girl touched on this. I worry a lot about my safety. It is something that I'm almost constantly scared about. So much so, trigger warning, like eating disorders and like sexual assault. I have PTSD from a sexual assault encounter from when I was 16. And I ended up with a binge eating disorder afterward. And my therapist says it's like literally my mind's way of protecting me. So like, I think that since I am fat or overweight, that I am less likely to be harmed because of that fact. So like, that is something that I like, it is so deeply ingrained in like my psyche that I like, it has caused ramifications in like every aspect of my life, right? So it is something that I am fearful of all of the time. And if you guys, are any of you guys into poetry at all? Yeah, a little bit. That's okay. There's Olivia Gatwood has a poetry book called Life of the Party, and it is a set of poems about her like coming of age story, but it is also kind of intertwined with this like romanticization that we have as a culture of violence against women, and how we are like obsessed with these like true crime scenarios that involve women, and it's almost something that we've like what do I want to say, we've built up so much that it almost doesn't seem real anymore. Like it's almost like fictitious because we've romanticized it so much. So I very much recommend if anyone ever, you know, has time to look at that collection of poems. It was really eye-opening for me. So what is something that you guys want the next generation of gamers to understand? If you could, like, I don't know, get them all together, teach them one thing, what would you instill in the next generation? If somebody prefers to go first.
Crosshair placement.
Stop looking at the ground.
Get good or get gone. I'm sorry. I'm over it. I'm getting motion sickness spectating you guys. Like,
Oh my god, don't watch me then.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's hilarious. I love it. All right,
Um,
anybody else?
For me, I think this goes back to me talking about like I don't think parents are educating their kids a lot. Like if I could get all the next generation together of kids, I think I would try to, and it's so hard because like Ariel kind of said, like this is a conversation you have to have more than once with kids, especially while they're learning and different life things are happening for all kids. Because being a teenager is hard, you know. But if I could have one conversation with them, it would be like, please be kind, and that your words really do matter on what you say. Like, there's some people who are like, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt me. And so many people like stand behind that statement, and I can understand like words can't physically hurt you if you want to get down to it. But words are so harmful, and the wrong thing can really, really like change someone's life. And I don't mean that like as a joke. You know, like seriously, like something that's said to someone can be like life changing. And I would try really hard to just be expressive of being kind and think about what you say before you say it.
I like it. I like it. Thank you. Anybody else?
I'd say just come up with new jokes. Come up with new insults. Be funny. Make me laugh. If you can't make me laugh, at least make me like breathe the air through my nose. Something. Like I'm tired of hearing the same things. Be funny, please. Study.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Ariel, what about you?
I was trying to think on that. Honestly, I'm just hoping that future generations can do better at it than I necessarily have, especially through the pandemic, but helping gaming be an escape but not a coping mechanism. I know that sounds like really intense, but that's kind of what it became for me in a lot of ways, and that's what turned gaming unhealthy for me at a certain point. Um and I just really hope that like everyone can appreciate gaming in the future, but not without helping themselves the way that they need to.
Mhm.
Well,
I like it. I like it. I feel like mine is like, I. It's not cool. It's it's not cool. What you're saying is not cool. Your bullying is not cool. Being mean is not cool. Like, I just wish people, like, I wish kids would understand that. Like, yeah, I don't know. You're not showing off to your friends. Like, it's just not cool. It's just not. In the long run, it just isn't. Which kind of leads me, I guess, into my next thing. What do you think that men should be doing to help women in this space? So we're standing up for ourselves more so than we used to, right? Like, we're in this space more so than we used to be. How can men help us in this journey? Cheer. Let's hear it.
Shut up.
Oh,
Just shut up.
I love
Stop
it.
talking. Be quiet. Stop. You've had your time.
Oh my God, I love it. Okay, perfect. Sad girl, what about you?
I don't know how to top that. Um, I think I'm not always someone who's like, oh, I want to start arguing with the person who's acting because they want your reaction,
Mhm.
and so I don't. It's nice when I have had guys in the game, stand up for me or whatever, and I really am just like I appreciate it, but also the kid just wants attention. It's more helpful to me when they just treat me like a normal person. It's one of the reasons I love playing Apex is because it's all 35-year-old dudes that don't care that you're a girl. And I know I can say in chat, hey, if you see this gun, will you ping it? And they'll be like, yeah, sure. Just treat me like a person. I don't know if that's a lot to ask, but apparently, I guess.
I appreciate it. Ariel, what about you?
yeah, I mean, I was gonna say, like, for me, as somebody that, like, I don't typically, like, I tend to have a more mild peacekeeping personality. For me, it is helpful to have them, like, speak up sometimes and to be an advocate, I guess. Like, if there's toxicity happening, don't feed into it, don't ignore it, shut it down. And I feel like more men seeing other men be advocates for women is only going to help propel that. So that's my hope, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Serena, what about you?
I think adding on to cheers, like for me, and I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but a lot of the men in my life don't get it. So it's not like all of you guys said, it's like it's nice when a man says something and like stands up for you, but it's also like that doesn't really help at the end of the day. Like for me, it's like I wish you would just listen and understand. Like my biggest thing is a lot of the things like my brothers, they're like being a woman is not that hard. Like you can go out, you can do things by yourself. Like you do not need to be scared of the world because like I just told you guys, that's one of my biggest fears. And it's hard like when it's the people closest to you. But it's like and I guess I shouldn't say every time because it's not every time, but I'd probably say like 3 out of the 5 times I go out into the world, something fucking weird happens if I'm by myself. And not like a I'm in life danger weird, but there has been a couple times where I have been scared of my life being by myself. And I think if anything at the end of the day, like if there's any men listening and you guys want to help change how women feel, is like Cheer said, shut up and listen and actually understand where the woman is coming from respectfully or, disrespectfully, fuck it up.
I wholeheartedly agree. Men need to understand and want to understand. Like, there needs to be an active participation from men to listen and understand that what we're going through is not okay. There's not an excuse for it, right? And if you care about us and our well-being, then yeah, shut up and listen to what we have to say. And I think something that I am a big believer in, yeah, is like holding your friends accountable. If you're in a game and your friend is making weird remarks, if your friend is saying like fucking outrageous shit, hold them accountable. Like, stop letting them get away with it. And I'm sorry, but if at a certain point, if they're still doing it, like, you should not be their friend anymore. There has to be like consequences to their actions. And aligning yourself with somebody that is okay with saying those things is hurtful, like, to your image. Like, you are not an ally at that point. You are not somebody that is helping in this space. You are taking a passive role is taking an active role against the movement, or whatever you want to call it, right? So I very much believe that men should call other men on their shit, especially if they're close or they're friends. Silence is complicity. I agree. But I also think that it should be less about how the man feels about the situation and more about creating space and opening up space for a woman to talk and explain, if that makes sense. So
It's so weird. Like, I feel like sometimes, though, men don't want to listen to women. Like, if a man is standing up for a woman, I think that man who was harassing or being an asshole, like, much rather sit there and listen to that man explain why it's wrong.
Mhm.
And how do we change that narrative?
I think
As long
generations
as-
of women have been
yeah.
trying to.
Yeah.
Why don't they see us as people? I don't know.
It's the same as how if we say we're not interested, they don't care. But if we were like, oh, I have a boyfriend, then they're like, oh, my bad.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And I think it's even like, I don't know. I guess we've talked a lot about, I'm sorry, these earrings are killing me. We've talked a lot about some of the extremes, but even today, like, it's International Women's Day. I'm going to keep using my husband as an example. So, I apologize to him. But like today he got home from work and I was like, I had posted in Discord today, like, everyone should learn one new thing about women's history or how they can help, or like just today learn one thing, right? And like he hadn't learned his one thing. And I was like, pull up your phone and look right now. Like, it's really not that hard. Just do it, right? Like, it takes 2 seconds. That is all that I'm asking. So even I think sometimes like people that are close to you and that care about you, I don't know, get like, oh, well, I support you in everything that you do and say, and I'm not actively like, doing anything harmful, but I'm also not like learning anything new. And I think that's hurtful as well. And I think even women, like even me, like I am still learning a great deal, like about women's history and what women have fought for and what other women are going through in other parts of the world. Like, those are all things that I was not like privy to growing up. Like, I did not learn about, and it has taken me a long time to understand that like that is work that we have to do. Like, we have to take an active part in doing. So yeah, we get lazy and comfortable. Yeah. And it's, see things through, I guess, our own experience a lot of the time. And I think we have to do a better job of like expanding that experience and that knowledge. So, yeah. I would love to hear, kind of on, I guess, a lighter note. I would love to hear about some ladies in the gaming space that you guys look up to, that you think deserve recognition. Who, who should we be looking out for? I have no idea. If somebody wants to go first, I'm so sorry. I really I should have I don't know, made a script or something. I don't know. I'm looking at all of you guys and you're looking at me expectantly, and for whatever reason it's making me so anxious. It should just
I'll
be
go
saying a name, but it's not. Thank you, Cheer. I appreciate it.
Some of my favorites, Sean J Gaming. She is amazing. She is so cracked at Warzone. She's also fucking hysterical. I've hung out with her in real life. She's amazing. I love her. Kaylee, as I mentioned before, another amazing Warzone streamer. I met her the other day and I'm still not over that. Who are some other great? I only follow Warzone, Call of Duty streamers. If you're into political streamers, I love Denims. She streams in the mornings and she does React content and videos. She games on her alt channel sometimes, but it's not her main thing. Yeah, there's so many amazing women, but those are the main that are popping into my head. I'm sorry for everyone I'm forgetting.
No, you're totally fine. I appreciate it, adding them to my list. Serena, what about you?
For me, I personally watch a lot of smaller content creators like my friends, not necessarily people I know in real life, but just people that I found on TikTok or Twitter and that we've actually hit it off. There's this girl named Some Bitch Red, and her name's a little bit different on all the other social medias because she can't have Bish in part of it. But she plays Fortnite, COD. She's very 18 plus. She's funny. She knows what she wants, and she's someone who doesn't take shit. I don't know Cheer well enough to actually compare her to someone, but she sort of kind of reminds me of you. You're someone that sounds like you don't take shit. You do what you want, and you make your channel your own. And I always want to be silly and funny and kind, but I do want to start implementing that a little bit of being I want to do what I want to do and fuck everybody else respectfully. So I really love Red. Thank you, Ika, for dropping that. There's a good friend of mine, Eye Candy. She lives in a trailer, so she doesn't always stream because she actually travels on the trailer and stuff like that. But she's always super kind and generous, and I love people who can laugh at themselves because it makes me be able to sit back, and if I have a mistake, if I say the wrong thing, if I do the wrong thing, I love being able to see people laugh at themselves, and that's a creator who does that a lot, and I love that. Also, I love this content creator named Havoc. I don't know if you guys know her. HP Havoc, hello, hi. I feel like we've known each other for a year and a half now. I think we met on TikTok,
Yeah,
Twitter, somewhere.
I think
Maybe.
TikTok.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
about to say Tinder.
Yeah. And every time I've had an interaction with Havoc, again, super kind, super genuine, and she's always willing to tell you how she really feels. I think Havoc is someone who's very much a girl's girl.
Mm.
Anytime I've had an issue or a thought or an idea, I've hit her up, I've talked to her. She's really big on communication, and at the end of the day, she loves her community, and she's always willing to work hard to put good quality content out. So I love that.
I appreciate
Those are a
it.
couple off the top of my head.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I am embarrassed and blushing just a little bit. No, I really appreciate it. I don't even know what to say to that. Truthfully, I'm flustered. All right, we're gonna go on to Ariel.
So my top one, my gosh. Well, I have two for completely different reasons, but Gab Smolders, if you don't know who that is, oh my heart. So I discovered her in the heat of postpartum depression with my youngest, and she just is the epitome of a cozy horror streamer. She
Mm.
plays like some cozy games as well, but she used to live in Japan, so she would play like a lot of Japanese-based games and like be able to tell stories, and she like, speaks the language and reads the language and such. So like getting that insight and just intelligence from her, and just her as just a person, she's just phenomenal, and I admire her so much. The other one would have to be Sweet Tails. I
Mhm.
just her personality, her just ability to be so genuine, and then it's just her energy is just it's contagious and it's chaotic, and I feel like I resonate with that, and it's just she's a person that I also just greatly look up to.
I love it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Sad girl, what about you?
I am so sorry I cannot contribute to this one. I for the past couple years have stepped away from all consuming gaming content pretty much entirely. I still play, but it got very toxic, and so I don't, Havoc, only streamer I watched.
I oh my gosh, I love women. I almost exclusively follow women. I really don't watch any men. So obviously you guys, I would not have reached out to any of you if I didn't absolutely adore your content and what you do in this space. Some other people to call out, Peachy. If you guys know Peachy, I love Peachy. She's incredible. Element OP is another one. It's really good. She does a lot of she got into D&D, so she has like D&D characters that she cosplays, and it's incredible. Oh my gosh, there are too many. There are too many. Flex and Flora, Mama Tamago. I'm literally
Oh,
Hercules.
Cat Liente.
Cat Liente. Yes.
I'm
She's
so
so
sorry I
sweet
cut
in
you off.
person too. So sweet in person. I adore her.
I believe it. Yeah, incredible. Oh, I would be a horrible person if I did not mention gaming. She is the reason that I got into Twitch. I downloaded TikTok, and she was one of the first people on my For You page. And she was the reason that I like downloaded Twitch, and the reason I joined a Discord, and like all of those things. She does not typically stream now. She's streaming our League of Legends noob tournament currently, but she's on TikTok usually is where she creates content.
I met her with you when I met you guys at
Mhm.
TwitchCon.
Oh yeah, we are buds attached at the hip at TwitchCon. So yeah, I just love women, so I am sorry. I'm just looking through to make sure. There's not really a lot else. I have a few smaller questions, but given the time, is there anything that you guys want to bring up that we didn't discuss?
I have a question.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know. So if everyone wants to kind of like take turns and do what we've done, it's a very generic question, but I like hearing advice. So, if a 13-year-old girl was watching the stream right now, wanting to get into the gaming world, the streaming world, like what piece of advice would you give her for being on the internet and in gaming?
I would.
Oh, sorry.
No. You go ahead.
You go ahead.
I would personally say, and this is something that like I struggle with too, but I would say to take up space. Take up space. Stop making yourself smaller for other people. Make people uncomfortable. Take up space. Be you fully and like wholeheartedly. That's what I would say. I wish somebody had told me that at that age. So
I would say if anything makes you feel not good, don't do it. And I think that like especially as 13-year-olds, and you're trying to develop in so many different ways, mentally and emotionally and psychologically, it's hard to like you're constantly thinking. I know at that age I was overthinking about like my interactions with different people of different genders on different platforms, and like if you're in any interaction or any situation, doesn't feel good, mute them. Play a different game. You don't have to, if all your friends like this game, you're playing it, you don't like it, that's okay. Find a game that you like to play. It's a silly, stupid power washing game. Lovely, perfect. Play that. Just like do what makes you feel good. Gaming should make you feel good. It shouldn't be a performance. It shouldn't be like something you have to think about.
Attention from an older man is not a good thing.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to go super dark with it, but yeah.
Crying.
No, that's we've all had that, right? We were all 13 with like a 22-year-old in our inbox, right? Like that's just a universal
Or even
experience.
older. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, older men should not be into you. That's weird and gross and illegal. So yeah.
I have a bit of a different take, honestly,
Okay.
and that would be to stay offline as much as you possibly can.
I like
Bec-
that though.
Because it is just, I know for me, as somebody that is very guilty of playing the comparison game, and especially at that age, I know if the internet had been as prevalent then as it is now, I would have been in a much more unhealthy place than I already was. So I would say to take as much of a step away from the internet as you possibly can. Your time will come where you can take it at a better time and you can be more responsible with it. And when you do that, be yourself, do so wisely and responsibly. But honestly, at that age, I say just stay off of it. So
I think that's very valid. Very valid.
Yeah, I was gonna say like be cautious of the content you consume, but that might also just be like me growing up on like early 2000s internet where like we saw some
sure.
wild shit. So like I think of like 13-year-olds on the internet and I'm like, don't watch the horrifying videos. It's gonna do irreparable damage to your brain. Stop it.
I concur. I know something that I did recently was like I purged my socials of like any creators that made me feel like less than. I think that's something that everyone should do, but I think especially younger girls that are kind of going through that like figuring out who you are and things like that. Yeah, I stopped following like I had a ton of pages that were like bragging about the money that they had or bragging about like their perfect whatever body or whatever. So yeah, I think being mindful of the content you consume is still important now as a 27-year-old. So any other questions that you guys want to pose to the group?
I have one.
Yeah.
I know we have at least a few LGBTQ girlies in here. What kind of experience, and I guess it's probably different for how different people present and stuff, like what kind of intersection have you seen between, you know, your sexuality and your gender and how you're treated by your community or the people who come across your content, or even in games, if somehow in games they're able to know that, I don't know.
I feel like it's doubled the hate I get in games, for sure. Because they're either hitting on you or being like, yeah, your pussy stinks. And then I'm like, it smells like your mom's breath. And like, oh my God, you're gay. And I'm like, yes, I'm glad you put that together, you fucking walnut. But as for like my community, I feel like it's really helped me. Like, I have such an amazing, like, I forget that people aren't gay. Like I have just like this community of just like gay people, women, trans people, and it's like heaven. Like I forget that other people are straight. I'm like, really? What's wrong? You're okay? No offense. But yeah, it's like wild that like in my stream I have this like amazing like welcoming queer community as I play a game that is just like giving me misogynistic, homophobic hate at almost all times.
Yeah. I know for me, I typically like because I'm married to a man, I typically don't I don't know, I guess like put it out there as much that I'm bi, just because I don't really feel like I almost feel like I don't have a right to, right? Like, I know.
Wrong.
But I feel like because I don't typically go through like the same turmoil as somebody that is in, you know, I don't know, a traditionally LGBTQ plus relationship. I just don't talk about it as much. Like I didn't come out to my community until like a year and a half ago. And I came out like to my family like a year ago. So like it's just not something that I talk about a lot. So I feel like because I don't talk about it a lot, it doesn't affect me in the gaming space.
For me personally, like I've never really came out and said it. I kind of like am very like Taylor Swift vibes. Like Taylor Swift has never really said anything, but we all know, you know, like we know that she's been with Carly and done her own thing. Like trust me, I know. I'm a big Swiftie. And I really relate to Havoc on the being like I've only had 2 serious relationships, and unfortunately they've both been with men. I've never had an opportunity to be with
Unfortunately. Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's crazy.
But I've never like actually like came out and said it. But I'm also at the point where like I don't feel like I have to come out and say like my sexual preferences or anything like that. Like I will sit there and like shrimp over these hot ass bitches, and I'll be like, I didn't have, you know what I'm saying? You know, things might be different, but I definitely make jokes about like the women who I'm friends with. And I always try to be very respectful and stuff like that. But I am that type of person to be like, please fucking push me against the wall, please step on me, things like that. And my community eats that shit up because they know. Even though I don't say anything, they know. And there's no way if you watch my channel that you don't know. And I've thought about it a couple of times, like you said, Havoc, like telling your community or telling your family. For me personally, I don't think that would go over well with my family and my close friends. And I don't really give a shit about their opinions. Like, I care more about most of my friends online than I do some of the people closest to me, you know, and the people closest to me on the internet don't give a shit that I think girls are hot. You know, so I'm proud of that, and I'm glad that I got to say that. So thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. I think I just came out to my grandma on accident.
So sorry. So sorry.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
I tried to be non-specific so anyone who wanted to speak could, and anyone who didn't. But I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. I've had this conversation with my parents, my mom and my dad, and my uncle, and like my cousins know, but apparently my grandma didn't. So, hey, Grammy.
If it helps, I came out to my community before I came out to family.
Oh, I love that.
I love that.
So some of my siblings just found out because they moderated for my channel at the time. They were like,
nice.
"Oh, so yeah."
Yeah.
But
We're
also
5
about-
for 5. Whoa, that was a good call.
I'm just at the point, like, if you know me and you don't know that I think women are hot, then I don't need you in my life. You know, like, fuck you. Respectfully.
The
Oh,
girls who
that's so
get
funny.
it, get it.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay, well, anyway.
Sorry.
No. I should have known, honestly. To be fair, I thought she knew. And listen, Grammy is the best, okay? We love her here. She's amazing.
That message is so sweet.
It just
You're gonna go to sleep
it just
thinking about
happened.
this tonight.
Oh,
You're
I'm
gonna be
gonna
rolling over thinking about it.
this is gonna keep me up for a couple nights. Let me tell you. No, that's funny. Okay. Oh,
Was
she
it
said
sure
I
that you-
suspected.
His eight
Wasn't
arms
sure
going
you
off.
knew. She wasn't sure you knew.
She said, "Wasn't sure you knew."
Oh,
That's so funny. Okay, well, I'm embarrassed.
Don't be.
No, that was such a good question. I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for sharing. I know that is something that sounds like might be newer to admit. So I really appreciate trusting this space enough to say
Could
it.
you make a TikTok about that?
Yeah. To be fair, she was also here. There was one night I was really drunk and we were playing some sort of never have I ever type game. And the question was what from your past would get you kicked out of an election or whatever. And I was like, well, I sent nudes in high school, and Grammy was there and she was like, excuse me. And that's a TikTok. So I think Grammy might be used to
Finding out the
finding
tea.
things out here. Yeah. I think that's why she comes here.
Would she be comfortable on stream? I wonder how that would do a grandma tea conversation. I think that would be cool.
She would do anything that I asked. She's just like that. So yeah, if she ever wanted to come on stream,
Tea
she's
time
more
with
than welcome.
grandma.
Yeah.
I do think it speaks to what kind of a space this can be. The fact that so many of us come out to the community before our own families. I just think that's kind of beautiful. I don't know any other way to say it.
No, I agree. It's almost you talk a lot about your friends or your family that you choose, and I feel that way about my community as well. These are the people that I've chosen to share my life with, and it's I feel safe here, right? Here, not in a COD lobby, but specifically right here with these people. It just it feels safe to be who I am, which I think is incredible and has helped me a lot in realizing that I'm enough the way that I am. So that's been life changing for me, I guess, not to be sappy, but any other questions for you guys? No? All right. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Like I said, I look up to all of you a lot. Just the communities that you've made, the people that you've inspired. I don't know. I just know that I'm lurking and seeing all of the amazing things that you do, and I'll always be in your corner. If you have a million fans, I'm one of them. If you have whatever the fuck that is, that's me. So I appreciate you guys being here and having this conversation, this candid conversation. Yeah. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for putting this
Thank you
together.
for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for your beautiful PowerPoint. We always love your PowerPoint. You're a PowerPoint expert.
Everybody has to be good at something. Mine's PowerPoint.
I love that you put so much different things into that. It really made me set and made me think. And like you said, if someone takes anything from today, like you said, go learn something about a woman that's knowledgeable and educate yourself on something. And I definitely think I learned a couple things watching your PowerPoint. So thank you for inviting us. Thank you for hosting. Thank you for putting it together. And keep kicking ass yourself. We're gonna support you like you support us. We love you and we love your content. We love how you are as a friend and a content creator.
Literally, don't make me cry. Stop.
Yay.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm just a small little fish in a big sea. But I like my little corner of the internet. And I've cultivated this kind of these friendships that I don't know, mean a lot to me. I love being mutuals with you guys and seeing what's going on in your lives. And I don't know, you all inspire me a lot. So I hope that in some small way, I've made a difference in your guys' lives as well. So, all right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Sending you all of my love. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Nice to meet
Bye.
you guys.
Have a
Good
good night.
to
Yeah, you
meet you
too.
all.
Alrighty. Whew, I was so nervous before that, guys. Don't tell anyone. Okay. We got it. Shut down. Okay. Now leave the Discord. Okay. Okay, we're doing good. Look at us. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you, Ariel. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ika. Seriously, I want to say, like, thank you guys. For anybody that is here that have entered this with like an open mind and learned something. I just want to say, like, seriously, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I think that women go through a lot in this space, and it's important to have these like conversations, these open dialogues about how we can support each other and how other people can support us, and just to like broaden our horizons, I guess. So thank you guys for sticking around and for listening, and for being part of this. I was genuinely so nervous to put this on. I learned something new today. Grammy, I'm glad that I could share something with you today. But yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully we can, continue having these conversations. And maybe this will become like a yearly thing. We'll do International Women's Day every year. I think that would be a lot of fun. And thank you to the ladies so much for showing up and for having this conversation and for being okay with me stuttering and tripping over my words and getting flustered. I appreciate the grace that you guys gave me. Thank you guys so much for tonight. I can mark it off my bingo card. It was on my bingo card to host a panel this year. So we're gonna mark that off of our to-do list. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid out to. I'm not sure who all is around this evening. If you are here and you are from another community, thank you so much for coming over from your respective communities. It means a lot. Just so you know, I said this like at the beginning of the stream. I'm typically an FPS player, so I play a lot of Valorant and Call of Duty. I also throw in some Lethal Company and League of Legends. We've kind of been all over the place lately as a community, just because I'm kind of like trying out variety and seeing what I like to stream most. So we're kind of in a transitional phase as a community, just seeing like what I vibe with. But feel free if you ever want to stop back in. I created my space as like a community for people left out of group chats. That's how I refer to it. So we are very warm and welcoming. You'll almost always find somebody in the Discord to hang out with. You'll almost always find somebody that plays the same games as you. So that's kind of what I focus on here. So yes, oh my gosh, please go get some rest. Thank you so much, Ariel. I really appreciate it. Sending you all of my love. I'm so happy that you were able to join us tonight. All right, let us raid out. Who is live? It's so much pressure. We can do let's raid out to King Dill Pickle. It looks like he's playing Elden Ring. Currently, yeah, okay, he's there and good to go. We're raiding out to him. Please give him a couple minutes of your time, see if you like his vibes. If you don't, that's totally okay. But I think that you will. He is just super, super nice. He is very like upbeat, full of energy. And he's playing some Elden Ring right now. So let's share some love with him. I'm going to send you guys over there here in just a moment. Please make sure that you join the raid. Just a couple minutes of your time is all that it takes. Just see if you like his vibes. That's it. That's all you have to commit to. Thank you guys again for hanging out tonight. Seriously, this meant a lot to me. Like more than I could even like put into words. Sometimes I'm not great with my words. This is one of those times. So thank you. Thank you for coming, Ika. I really appreciate it. I'm raiding out to King Dill Pickle right now. I will see you guys later. Bye.